Hello seniors, it's Mr. Feblis here. Hope you're doing well. Here's a little video on how to request transcripts and teacher recommendations and how to use Naviance to organize it all so we have it all in the right place. Let's get right into it. So here I am on the College Counseling Senior page. I'm going to come down here to Transcript Request Form, and here's where you can find the forms. Let's take a look at this first deadline, October 3rd for applications due October 15th through November 1st. So if you want to request a transcript and the supporting materials, in other words, the school report, class profile, and counselor recommendation, we need to have this form in 1 month ahead of the deadline. Now, October 1st is a Saturday, so we're not going to require you to get it in on the weekends, but we are going to ask that by the close of business on October 3rd that we have these forms in place. Now again, October 15th is not 1 month ahead, but we are able to work with that slightly earlier deadline. But please do not show up on October 4th saying, I forgot. It would not be fair to those who handed their materials in on time, and for processing purposes, adding more applications later will slow the entire process down for everybody. So please do not miss that October 3rd deadline. I'm going to remind you many times here, but do not miss that October 3rd deadline. Get it in 1 month ahead of time, please. So let's take a look at the form. I'm going to use the PDF form for these purposes. Here we are. This is the transcript request form. Pretty simple to fill this stuff out. Name, phone number, and your counselor. What is this for? You're going to circle one of these. Again, if you're using, if you're going to do an electronic version, you can use a drawing tool to do that, or you can print it out, fill it out and scan it, whatever you like. We can also take handwritten versions of these as long as we can read your handwriting. You know who you are. You are going to use this for summer programs, special programs, scholarship applications, and things like that. So let us know what you're applying for here. And give us the address only if it's for a special program. You don't need to do this for colleges because, again, we're going to send via Naviance. We won't need to send anything by mail, thank goodness. Give us the college's application deadline. Do not give us your deadline for when you would like it sent in. Please just, again, November 1st, November 15th, whatever the case is, put the deadline in here. Let us know which type of application it is. Now, listen, for now, I only want you to give me the transcripts. Again, we're in September. Only give me the transcripts requests for early action, restrictive early action, or early decision. I'm going to not highlight early decision 2 because that's not until January. We really need to make it simple, we really need to focus on applications only by deadline. If I were to, a lot of you are sending me requests for regular decision and priority deadlines of December 1st or even January. Please save those for later in the year. We will only be able to send your transcripts and supporting materials for these November 1 or November 15th deadlines. If we were to send all of your information now, think of it this way, it's going to slow the process down for everybody. We don't need to send these things out until later in the year. I know many of you want to get this stuff done and get it out of your way, but please just send us the transcript request forms only for these November deadlines. Let us know who are your teachers. You sign it, a parent signs it, and then you're going to send it either to Ms. Hamer in person or via email. And these are this is the information that we'll send along with the transcript. I'll go into how to do this on Naviance later, but essentially you're not going to use the transcript request procedure on Naviance. Ms. Hamer is going to populate that information on Naviance on her own in about 2 business days, so look out for that. But let's take a look at the teacher recommendation request form. Again, this stuff should be pretty straightforward. And we're saying this, let us know, the teachers will send it out, and we're respectfully requesting that they send your information a little ahead of the early deadlines and a little more ahead with the January deadline, because that's when the bulk of the applications kind of go out. Or maybe it's an other date because it doesn't fit one of these earlier deadlines. not a big deal. Again, for most of you, it's going to be this box right here for now. Now, if your teacher has their own form or data sheet, you don't need to complete the rest of this, but for many of you, you're going to need to do this too. Again, this is pretty straightforward, and again, many of you have talked about this in person. If you don't know these things, it's okay, but we would like you to fill some of this stuff out so it helps them to write their letters for you. You can do this either in paper or online version. Either way is perfectly okay. So let's take a look at Naviance. This is the next step to take. So I'm going to pull this up right here. Let me full screen this. Here's my demo page. This is what a student sees. So after you've given the transcript request forms in, you're not going to do this feature here where you put request transcripts. Please don't use this because, again, we're going to, Ms. Hamer is going to populate this herself. After you've done the transcript request form, the schools that you're applying to are going to populate in this area right here. You have to use managed transcripts or anything like that. Okay. But for teacher recommendations, here's the next step after you've handed in the teacher recommendation request form. We're going to go up here to colleges. We're going to go to letters of recommendation. Let's click on that. Okay. So you're going to, this will pop up. It's a pretty bland looking thing, but it's good. Okay. Let's go to add request. By the way, I'm just testing these things out. You're going to see cancel for me, but it's just a practice account. Anyway, let's go to add request. You're going to look for a teacher. I'm going to choose myself once again. Okay. You don't have to go through, by the way, you don't have to request my school recommendation because it's part of the transcript request form. Okay? So we'll just imagine that I'm your, I don't know, English, history, or neuroscience teacher. Now, select a recommendation request type. I want you to pick general for all of your teacher requests. Yeah, but I'm applying to this college, I'm applying to that college, I'm applying to that one. Remember, your teacher doesn't send specific letters to colleges. They do one general letter that gets sent to whatever colleges you want. A little more later on. In some cases, you may want to send one rec to one college and not to the other. We'll get a little bit more into that later. But for now, you're going to do general request. That goes for everybody. And then a little personal note you can include there. Okay. That's nice, isn't it? We hit submit request. And then it's going to show up here that, hey, you made the request. Okay? Pretty straightforward. I'm going to go back one step because I seem to have forgotten one little step. Okay, so let's say you have a college that only requires one recommendation, or only even takes one recommendation. There are a handful out there. Well, let's go back to the transcript request form. And let's take a look at this section right here. I've asked the following two teachers for letters of recommendation. Primary rec letter in the event that only one can be submitted. You're going to put that person's name in here. So essentially, you're putting in you're writing the teacher's name that you would prefer first over the second. Yeah, I'm asking you to make a little bit of a choice. For example, Villanova University only requires and only accepts one recommendation letter, and that we wouldn't be able to send via Naviance more than one. So, if you're applying for an engineering program, you probably want a science or a math teacher in here as number one. So why is this a step? Well, again, when I get ready to send all of your information, and it's me that clicks send on your letters of recommendation, I need to know which one, if there's only one that can be submitted, which one do you want to go? So be very mindful of this when you are getting ready to fill out your forms. Okay, and then the final step, here I am back on the Naviance page. You're going to need to waive your FERPA rights, and that's the video that precedes this one, because it will not populate in your recommenders section on your home page until you do that. So make sure you waive your FERPA rights. And again, we want you to be able to do this and not your parents. I think it's great that your parents are involved in this, but it's more important that you are doing this as the applicant. We'll review a little bit of this in class, but otherwise, here's the step toward requesting transcripts and teacher recommendations. And I'll see you guys in class, and have a good day.